I mean, have you partied there? Like,
have I partied twice? No,
I'm just thinking about
that's a goal that I've not.
Well, I was.
Shonda has, so I'm jealous of her.
Yeah, and probably Carrie watching it.
Yeah, Carrie hasn't. I think Carrie partied at Camp David, but not. I'm not sure if she got that way.
Well, now I'm wondering. I guess they welcomed you with wide open arms. Partly because it's such a great show. Partly because you're such a hero. I mean, what's not to like about you?
Oh, I don't know. Someone on Twitter. I saw this article. Yesterday, the day before, in The Atlantic, who I used to read all the time, but now I'm not. He said I was the worst character on television. This is the worst character, which sort of surprised me.
Because
I'm just going to hope that they weren't saying the worst performance on television. But I can't be objective about that. But because they felt he's so heinous. Or they're running, I think it was for Jessica Lange's character on American Horror Story, so I'm in good company, but they were saying that he's so heinous and so self-serving and narcissistic that he's this rich guy who ruins everybody's lives who he's involved with and just wants more. And abuses all the women that he's involved with, and yet is so wounded that they are mean to him. I don't exactly agree with that analysis, although Fitz is a deeply flawed person. But I kind of I feel like the character I'm trying to portray, and that he's gone off the rails a little bit here and there, but that Shonda's written is which was great, I think, about so many of the characters in our show, is everyone does just awful things, and yet you somehow care about them. We're murderers, we're liars, the only character who I think is, if you follow Scandal, the only character who is, we were saying this the other day, Teddy, he's a big one. We don't know about Teddy. Is Darby's character, Abby, is the only clean character in the entire show. Darby Stanfield's character plays Abby is the only straight shooter. She's always trying to do the right thing. She hasn't killed anybody. She slept with a few people, but but everyone else is very morally compromised. That's true, and also my new vice president, Susan Ross, also, but she's new. Yeah, we'll get
Well, I was wondering. Well, Melly, of course, and she's integral.
Melly's awful. I love her, but she's
intimately likable. Every once in a while, you feel so.
You love her.
Because you're so mean. Well, you're not mean. You're complicated.
I mean her. But she tends to earn it. Melly, you love Melly, and you care about her, and often vilify me, but she does some pretty dark stuff.
Yeah, just for a minute. She got over it fast with her.
She had 17 people murdered and took money from the man who killed our son. But other than that,
well, if Melly, I mean, what a storyline that's, I don't think we're going to give anything away since it's happening now. That Melly was the very how do you say, the highly educated, successful woman who became a senator and has now got her eye on and may very well get to the White House, and part of that's payback for, on Fitz's part, he's going to help her with it because he owes her for infidelity, or not loving her. So would you think you'd be welcome in the Hillary Clinton's White House? I'm just saying, there's a character race that might be recognizable as Hillary. I know.
Yeah, but we'll see. But
do you think anybody would? No, they don't mind the similarities.
Do you mean in terms of the
storyline?
Well, we talked about this. I was teasing Jean, a friend of mine, about. I was surprised that I got a call. To be honest with you, very strongly feel that Hillary is by far the most qualified person to be the president, in my opinion. So I will do whatever I can to support her, and I started to say that maybe just once publicly, and I was contacted by the campaign to help, even though our friend Jean, who works for the Clintons, was like, they're much bigger people than you who want to help her. But so I have been, I've had a lot of conversations with the people on the Secretary of Staff about how I can help out. So they haven't shunned me.
Well, maybe it'll work out and Melly will have a complete personality transformation.
But you mean, were you talking about me or Melly?
No, I was just laughing. I mean, I was just joking. That you've got Melly, if you pared it down to what's on the page there, it could be Hillary Clinton. It's just, she goes from first lady to senator to maybe president, and so I'm listening.
No. Look, the parallels are great. That's what makes the show fun. That's what have been so relieved and kind of tickled by over the years. When I read the script, the first pilot, I was nervous about it, honestly, because that scene that we saw of Mia kissing Olivia was from the very first episode, and I thought, okay, this is going to go somewhere interesting, so that's cool. But then I thought, oh God, is this character just going to be a kind of cashing in on the presidential infidelity and become a one-dimensional kind of cad, sort of like, capitalizing in a way that was not very smart about the whole Monica Lewinsky thing, and it didn't go there. It became much more complicated and interesting. And I think that the parallels of Melly being the first lady who is aiming at the White House, the parallel of the Clinton dynasty is a great thing, even though Melly is nothing like Hillary. She's brilliant, she's tactically smart, she's ambitious, she's driven, she's capable in so many ways, but she's also craven and ruthless and bitter and driven by very dark forces that I really don't think Secretary Clinton is. I think those characters have to be parted, but it's a lot of fun to have our storyline going in that direction at the time that the first woman president is headed to the White House. I think that's super cool.
Yeah. Well, you do get, though, even there are different storylines that throw off some police killing of an African American. I mean, there are storylines now that seem to be more than in those first couple of seasons, more along the lines of picking up what's happening in Europe, or like the Iran nuclear deal. There was a version of that.
Yeah, we just did it in the last episode.
Yeah.
Shonda does that very skillfully, I think. She has things she wants to talk about, so she does. I know with the launch episode, they weren't planning that at all. But when I think it was when Eric Garner was killed, and in the heels of what happened in Baltimore, and she just came into the room one day and said, "We need to do an episode about this. So stop everything. We're doing this." And they came up with that, I think, in very short notice, and she wanted to talk about that. And it was a very powerful episode. But she's done things like, we did this episode in the second season, which dealt with an NSA leak where, an NSA employee was leaking a top secret government program, NSA program, to spy on American citizens. And then 6 months later, Edward Snowden happened. I was like, who is she talking to? And she, that was a slightly comic treatment, but it was dealing with something that was in the zeitgeist and was actually happening, so, and certainly after the fact, last week we had this thing with deal with the Iranians. It was a fictionalized Iranian thing, but I think that she did it in a very skillful way. I thought it felt very kind of real. So there's that thing that Scandal does where it treads into something that feels very authentic and real, and then it sort of catapults off into this outrageous, operatic, hyper-reality that is the world of Scandal.
Yeah, operatic, that's a great word for the show. And it's also a page-turner. I mean, I've seen it myself, binge-watching some of the time, because I was 20 hours and I'm not up on Thursday nights as a rule. And it's like, I'm up till 4 or 3 in the morning because I can't. That's Sean Boy.
No, she's good. She's great at that, yeah.
We want to make this a bit interactive then, because we are connected by the web. We can even get questions from outside the room. So, I have many more, but why don't we go to you guys and get some questions from you?